I'm a little tired of the welcome back intro. What else should I do?
Back welcome.
Back welcome.
What if we do it in reverse?
Back welcome to the Vision Sideline podcast. You know what? Hang on. Let me type this out and I'll read it backwards. Podcast Vision Sideline, the to back welcome. I am Nick Rampe, joined as always by Reece, Leddy, and Sam Dicus. Fellas, how are we doing?
Doing excellent.
Doing pretty good.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. And we're going to do what we always do. Start off, instant replay, looking back at the past week of Belmont sports, starting off with Sam and men's basketball.
Men's basketball last Thursday beat fifth-ranked UNI 91-86, and this was just a thrilling game to cover. It was Coach Casey Alexander's 300th career win. Tyler Lemblade went off for a career-high 31 points. And I met and interviewed Ben Shepard, who came and watched the game, the former Bruin playing for the Pacers right now. Really, really cool stuff there. The game was great. The team shot 57% from the floor, 47% from three, 83% from free throw range. Those are gorgeous splits. They'd had a turnover problem heading into this one, coming off that Bradley loss, but they had 19 assists to 11 turnovers, which is right around a 2-to-1 assist-turnover ratio. That's great. Bench had 33 points. Brigham Rogers had 9. Aiden Noyes had 9. Ian Dillon had 8. Jack Smiley had 7. Really good contributions off the bench. And if you remember from the last episode, I was completely wrong about this one. I thought it was going to be a slugfest. UNI came into the game and still has the best defense in the nation. They're giving up the least amount of points per game in the country at 61.2 points per game and has the lowest three-point percentage allowed. And yet the team shot 47% from three and hung 91 on them. And now Belmont has the two highest scoring games of the season against the nation's top defense. And then that led into Belmont's 87-70 comeback win over third-ranked Murray State on the road Sunday. This game was in prime time. They were down 19 points with 18 minutes to go in the game. 13 minutes to go in the game, they were tied. 12 and a half minutes, they took their first lead. 41 seconds left, Belmont was up 19 points. They outscored Murray State by 38 points in less than 18 minutes in the second half. They were led in scoring by Jack Smiley's career-high 21 points on 7 of 10 shooting and Ian Dillon's 19 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Not too often that in a nationally televised game against a really strong opponent that you're led by two freshmen off the bench and scoring. But the team shot 52% from the floor, 45.5% from three, 85% from the free throw line. Again, gorgeous percentages. But looking at the difference between halves, they shot 31, 25, 71 splits in the first half, improved to 69% from the field, 70% from three, and 92% from the free throw line in the second half. They scored 49 points off the bench. Tyler Lemblade added 12 points on 4 of 9 shooting, went 4-7 from three. Sam Orm had 16 points on 7-11 shooting. So all around, a great comeback win and just another nail in the coffin for Murray State. One thing that's troubling me, Drew Sharnowski, been really quiet recently. After back-to-back 19-point performances against Murray State and Drake when we were scoring 100 points a game.
Yeah, and also the game where he almost had a triple-double.
Triple-double, he had 19, 10, and 9. I mean, he's playing great. After those two, he had 3 points against UIC. Turned it around, 18 points in a loss to Bradley, but 0 points against UNI, 6 points against Murray State. He had 3 fouls against UIC and 4 each against UNI and Murray State, and that's just been a huge factor in these games. He hasn't been out there. His last 2 games, he's played 24 minutes and has 8 fouls to 6 points. He's got to find a way to stay on the court. Brigham Rogers has been playing great with him on the bench, but getting just 12 minutes from Drew Sharnowski is not going to be enough come tournament time.
What do you think it is?
I honestly don't know. I think that teams are recognizing that they want to get him out of the game, and they're just going at him. Like, it seems like there have been more drives targeting Sharnowski than earlier in the year, but, like, if he can cut the fouls in half, like if he can just have 2 fouls like he did against Bradley, he scored 18 points that game. So they know how impactful he is and how he can just score in bunches, and especially how once he starts having those highlight slam dunks, how it starts to energize everybody around it. So I think teams are really going to task trying to get him out of games, and credit to him. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy. He's got to realize that when the guard's coming in the paint, you got to go up, straight up. Not everything has to be a block, because I think sometimes maybe he's looking for a block, gets part of the arm, whistle, foul.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, when you are that big and that athletic, like, realistically you can block pretty much any shot. But I really agree with what you're saying. Every bucket he makes is such a momentum shifter that I do think teams are really prioritizing going at him early and trying to exploit that a little bit.
And I think that's a valid strategy to try and get him out of games. But credit to this team's depth for not allowing that to be a factor in the team losing. Like, Brigham Rogers has been playing fantastic off the bench. That's huge.
Absolutely. Switching over now to women's basketball, successful weekend. Actually, very successful weekend. Started off Friday with a 71-56 win over UIC, who's been, I hate to just be dismissive and say mid, but I mean their records reflect it's almost even, right at 500. But a good game from the Bruins regardless. 15-point win. Hillary Fuller put up 19, and more important, she was 5 for 5 from 3. Not really who you think of when you think of shooters on this team, but always good to see that kind of depth go throughout the team.
She has very random, just really good performances. Like there's some times where she'll be quiet for a long stretch, and then she'll have that one game where whoa. And then you'll see the stats of other players, and it's like, wow, she's doing most of the work here. It's just, I like that. It's fun.
She's a very gritty player. Not a lot of her impact shows up in the stat sheet sometimes, but 5 of 5 from 3, that surprised me so much when I saw it, especially since she had missed a couple games there.
Yeah, for sure. And then the big story is the big win over still winless Valparaiso, 77-37. It's a 40-point win. Jalen Banks had 19.6 rebounds, 3 assists. I should mention 4 different Bruins were in double digits of scoring. That was Jalen Banks' stat line. Avery Strickland just missed a double-double. She had 11 points and 9 rebounds. Sanaa Tripp did get a double-double with 10 points and 15 rebounds from a guard, mind you. And then Quinn Eubank had 11 points and 7 rebounds. So, with a lot of missed shots come a lot of rebound opportunities, but still very impressive to see these totals. And, I mean, what do you even say about a 40-point win?
I mean, I was at that game covering that game, and it made sense. I think we should have won by way more. We had our bench players being very active in the game with maybe early in the second quarter of that game. Claire Hyde was really impressing me. She made, I think, 3 for 5, but her first 3 3-pointers all went in. And she had 9 points just from her little stint in there. There was not a time where Valparaiso was wow, this team's could do something. No, it was crazy how empty that media table was there. Nobody was at that game because when you're facing an Owen, are they 27 now?
I believe Owen 27 now.
Owen 27 now. We gave them their 26th loss, but yeah, just crazy.
I wonder at what point they everybody collectively realized Valparaiso's probably not going to win a game this year.
Yeah, who knows? Not me, but if I had to guess, probably not. I did want to mention about Claire Hyde. I feel like she's a player that the bigger the role she's gotten, the better she's performed. And I remember I was at a game taking photos, and this was in Jalen Banks was still out, and then Sanaa Tripp left because she got cut or something. A cut, not cut from the team. And so Claire Hyde had to step in, and she was just out there making hustle plays. She got slammed into the scoring table. She was making big shots left and right. So I think that's been very impressive. And then the women's team as a whole, 4 straight wins now. They're 16-9 overall, but again, 12-2 in Missouri Valley Conference play, which puts them second behind only Murray State. Now, swinging over to softball. Ooh. How many times have you heard that, Reese?
Actually, not a lot, because, when I would do sports report, Doran would be don't make any puns with whatsoever. That's,
no swing.
Because that's news people who talk on WSMV for say well, I'm not a sports guy, but let me pretend, and then they say, well, let's swing over to baseball.
No disrespect to our friends over at WSMV.
Yeah, no disrespect.
Reese, why don't we get into softball?
No disrespect, But anyways, just want to say that I perfectly predicted how this weekend would go. Last episode, I said for their first game against North Alabama, they'd lose, and for the Samford game, they'd win. They did that. They lost 5-9 against North Alabama and won 5-0 against Samford. You're going to see a bit of a pattern here. North Alabama, Maya Johnson was not in the mix, and you had Ellie Giles pitching. She's usually who's there when Maya Johnson isn't pitching. And Hannah Lair, she is a transfer from Campbell, so she's a new player. And we had Anna Caskey, who's a freshman pitcher. So we had 3 pitchers in that first game, kind of splitting up the reps there. So not really anything there. But I mean, Samford, if you go to the Samford stats with Maya Johnson, it's Samford 5-0. Maya Johnson had 15 strikeouts and 2 walks.
And that's like an off day.
Yeah, because you're going to see the other game that she played. So we go to the third game. It's like, okay, we lost to Lindenwood, and I predicted that too. I thought we would lose to Lindenwood. Not a very, it's just not a game we care about too much. We can kind of let Maya Johnson rest. And, same kind of pitching lineup for that game. We had Anna Lair and Ellie Giles on that mound too that day. So, not a lot of work. Hannah Lair, want to give her a shout. 5 strikeouts. That's not a bad stat. I mean, yeah, for a new transfer, good game for her. But you go to game 2 against North Alabama, which win 4-3. Maya Johnson has 17 strikeouts.
It's just insane.
It's 7 innings, but she did that entire game, 17 strikeouts.
So she struck out
17 of 21 outs.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
bizarre.
It's insane. I do want to give credit to their hitting because, a big part of why they win, I think, is a lot of the pitching. But credit to their hitting. I want to give Emily Kahns a huge shout out. She's had a major impact on this team, and she is, I believe she's a transfer student from Francis Marion, previous school. But I mean, in this weekend was kind of her first showing of what she can do, because in the first 4 games of the season where we went to Athens, Georgia, her most at-bats were 3 against Fordham. She only got 1 hit. But you look back at these games, she had 2 at-bats against North Alabama for the first game, had 2 hits and a run. Samford, 4, 1 hit, 2 RBI. She had a really impressive weekend hitting-wise, and I just want to give that a shout-out because, I mean, that's what's winning games. Gotta get some runs. So want to give her a shout-out there. And then we go to baseball, which, man, I predicted the Samford game. I think Bellarmine, I thought we were going to be a lot better than we did play. But Samford, I predicted that we win the second game, and that we did. Just not seeing a lot from the pitching depth. It's just really disappointing because you got Zane Brown and Lake Morris on the mound, and great guys. I was talking to Lake Morris today about I was talking to Matt Einsteins actually today, and I saw him online. I was like, hey, what's up? So we talked baseball a little bit. Andrew Perry, I've heard, is not really starting. He's more of a relief kind of 5th, 6th inning kind of guy, which I can get. I mean, he can kind of save you a little bit at the end there, and that's what I kind of saw from him from last season. I figured they would try and maybe adjust that a little bit because I think he's an MVC player to watch this year. He's a name on the Belmont Bruins roster, so I just figured they would kind of develop him more that way, but doesn't seem to be the case. A player I do want to give a shout out is Noah Burnham. He is a freshman, and his hitting was really good against Samford. He had 3 at bats, 3 runs, 3 hits, 3 ribbies. I mean,
boom.
Yeah,
Boom.
I mean, come on. And he's only started 1 game against Samford, and then he came in at Bellarmine, whatever roster change or lineup change. But I mean, he went to Lowndes High School, which I don't know if you know that, but that's in Georgia, and we actually interviewed a player there. Carson Page was his name. He was the second baseman for the Georgia Highlands Chargers, and his dad coaches Noah Burnham's old high school team, which I thought was really cool. But that's also a really good program. So if there's any player to watch this season, it's Noah Burnham. I'm really happy to see how this freshman does. Because, I mean, your first start, 3-3-3. Yeah, I mean, can't be more proud with that. Bellarmine, very disappointing, 11-4, but it's a Tuesday game. We're not really focused on that. We're more focused on the weekends, I think. I think that's what Dave Jarvis is more focused on anyways. But other than that, I mean, hey, we got our first win of the season on the opening weekend for baseball. Last season, it took 10 games for Belmont to get their first win of the season at Lipscomb, and I'll actually get to that later. But, I mean, not off to a great start, but better than last season, and you just got to see where these transfers and freshmen go. I mean, I've been talking to the team, and, I mean, they're happy. They're excited. They're happy to see, like, what they can do. I think they believe in their teammates a lot, which is great. I think a lot of the chemistry last year was kind of lacking. I think there was a lot of tension in the dugout between players and pitchers, and just from my experience viewing it from the dugout, like, it just didn't seem great. So I hope, they can get kind of something built there. But hey, we got one win out of this week. I'm happy with that.
And I talked to Coach Jarvis after that game. I covered it, and the quote that sticks with me, he said, "Our team needs to play. I think that's how we're going to get better, and I think that's how we're going to gel. That's going to be as good a medicine as we can get." And that just sums up early season baseball.
And Sam and I were both at that Bellarmine game, and 11-4 looks bad, and it is bad, undoubtedly. But honestly, if you take the last 5 innings of the game, I think it's still a loss. But it's not
much closer.
Yeah.
The 6-run second inning, the wind was blowing out. Like Bellarmine just got to Brown, and the Bruins were hitting the ball pretty well in the first few innings, just couldn't ever find the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Landon Godsey, Charlie Davis, still back, still as good as they were last season. Like, if there was 2 players to be said, like, that would have been translating what they did last season to this season. Those were the 2 players I would say, and I'm so glad that they're not even stepping up. They're in the position they were last season as leaders, and yeah, super good.
Serving it over to Sam for tennis. Last segment of the instant replay. Sam, take us through men's and women's tennis.
Well, men's tennis got swept 7-0 by Vandy. I mean, D1 SEC, like that's some top tier tennis right there. You'll take that. Like, I don't think that they thought they were going to upset Vandy. Lost to Ole Miss 6-1. Bright spot. Belmont's #1 doubles team of Sabi Roy and Stefan Veldovelli. Sorry if I butchered that. They beat Ole Miss's double team of Isaac Stromberg and Kai Milburn 7-5. Stromberg and Milburn are the 18th best duo in college tennis. So see what our #1 doubles team can do. That's pretty neat. Women's tennis lost to Southeast Missouri 5-2 and lost to North Alabama 4-1. Against Southeast Missouri, redshirt freshman Savannah Webster and graduate student Cielo Tapia Cruz. Again, sorry if that's not it. They got the set wins in singles, and then freshman, once again going to apologize, Kedavin Jaladze got the lone set win for the Bruins against North Alabama. So still winless on the year for women's tennis. Men's tennis, that's a huge bright spot, seeing them go out and competing against the 18th best duo in the NCAA.
For sure. And I got to say, 2-5 in the set against Southeast Missouri, maybe the first time I've seen a 2 or something higher than 1. So. And
then the 4-1 North Alabama just clinched it with the 4th win. There were a couple games in the middle of going on. Tapia Cruz was in the middle of one. It was completely tied up. So who knows? That could have been closer if they got to finish it out. So maybe go in the right direction, women's tennis.
Speaking of going in the right direction, full of these today. Sam, walk us through the future of men's basketball.
Well, Saturday it's homecoming and senior night for the Bruins. They take on Indiana State at 7. I couldn't think of a better homecoming opponent than the Sycamores. They're second to last in the MVC at 3-13 and have beat Belmont, actually. Beat them on a last-second free throw in overtime, 81-80 in December. So I think that if you're the Bruins, celebrate your seniors, celebrate a really, really successful season up until this point, and go beat down on Indiana State for beating you earlier in the year. I think that'll be a fun time for everybody. Don't lose. Just don't lose that game. Like, you've had a great year. You've already lost to this team that you shouldn't have lost to. Like, go lay the hammer on them. And then next Wednesday, they take on Evansville in the home finale. Evansville is the only team worse than Indiana State in the MVC, and they've already lost to Belmont 83-78. I'm looking at this and thinking these should be 2 easy home wins after a brutal road stretch for Belmont. And looking ahead to a match against a very solid Illinois State team on the road. And then right after that, I mean, that's the regular season finale. We're in the MVC tournament. So hopefully they can just have two easy wins here, take that against Illinois State. And then I know this is a little early, but ESPN has been dropping some stuff. Joe Lunardi has Belmont as a 12 seed right now in the March Madness bracket.
Wow.
Yeah. So like if it ended today, they would be 12th seed taking on 5 seed Arkansas in the West Division and playing in Tampa, Florida. Jay Billis ranked them as the 47th best team in the country. And I'm going to be honest, I think they should get in regardless of how the auto bid MVC tournament goes. They lead the nation in wins away from home. They've got 24 wins. They've looked like the best team in the MVC the whole season. They've got 2 fluky losses on last-second shot. Their other loss was an OT on the road in a tough place to play. And then their lone non-conference loss was probably to one of the better non-conference teams they played, Richmond, long time ago, tournament, neutral site. I don't see any reason why you would hold them out, especially if you think they're a 12 seed right now. And I saw where Joe Lunardi thought that they could get as high as an 11 seed.
Yeah, I think as long as there's not a collapse from the team either down the home stretch or like in the first round of the conference tournament. I was going to say, other than that, they're a lock, obviously. But yeah, I think the tournament hopes for this team are looking very, very good. Women's basketball does not have the same homecoming luck. In fact, they are not home for homecoming. They go to Illinois State on Friday. Illinois State just 15-10 overall, 9-5, but they are 9-5 in the conference, but they're 12-0 at home, and they sit at 4th in the Missouri Valley Conference. Then on Sunday, they travel to Bradley. Bradley 18-8, 11-4 in the conference, and 11-0 at home, and they are in 3rd in the Missouri Valley Conference. So a tough slate of 2 teams to draw, not just to play. I mean, you're number 2, you're playing number 4, and then number 3, but playing both of them on the road. Neither of them have lost at home. This is going to be, I mean, really the last like real good look we'll get at this team before the tournament and see what they're made of.
And that came after, like we were talking about earlier, 2 double-digit wins at home. So that was kind of a bye week-ish between games against, I think it was Drake and UNI that lead the MVC in home attendance. So they're playing in some hostile environments right here, and I think that there's, like you said, there's no better litmus test for what this team truly looks like than taking on number 4 and number 3 back-to-back.
Sorry, I left you. I wanted to leave you out to dry without a transition to see what you do. I ran a little experiment on you. I'm sorry. That was mean of me. Swinging over to softball.
Swinging over to softball again. That's crazy. Anyways, we got the Bulldog Invitational at Starkville, Mississippi.
Who? I don't think they do that. I just got in the mood for it. All of a sudden you said Bulldog and I got antsy.
Well, we've beat the Bulldogs before, softball at least, so there's that. But Delaware State, first game, Delaware State has played 3 games this season. So I would say that they are not prepared for the Belmont softball team. I don't think they're going to start Maya Johnson on that 10 o'clock game. I think they're just going to throw it out for Ellie Giles and Hannah Lair and the new freshman pitcher. I say we win that game. I think that's a game we should win, no matter who's on the mound that game. I mean, the ERAs from the pitchers who aren't Maya Johnson are still a lot better than what we see on the Delaware State roster. That's a game we should win. Then we got number 14, Mississippi State. I feel like you want Maya Johnson on the mound for this one for the 12:30 p.m. game. I think you want her on the mound for both ranked games. I mean, Samford, that's a team that we already beat. We're playing Samford again on the Bulldog Invitational, and that's a team we already beat. We know we're capable of beating them. I feel very confident that at least we'll win one Mississippi State game. I shouldn't say I wouldn't be surprised, because it is a huge thing to be another ranked team once again. A team that is actually ranked higher than Georgia just by, a couple spots. But it's going to be a really exciting weekend for softball. I mean, they're on a long, long, long away stretch. I mean, 3 weekends not being at home. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I think if I was going to predict it this time, I think Delaware State win. I think Mississippi State, I think we lose that game. I think we lose the Friday game. Then I would say Samford we win. I think Mississippi State, that 4th game we win. I think we go 3-1. I don't know. What do you think, Sam? And Nick?
If you get these right, I'm going to need you to start predicting that we win every game, because I'm Frankly, I don't know. I'm really terrible at I don't bet on outcomes because I'm just really bad at it. So frankly, that's all you. But I am intrigued to see if you remain perfect, and then if you do, we're gonna have to start keeping track of your record.
I'm glad that you think that they can beat Mississippi State. That is the level of confidence that you're supposed to have when you have an ace.
That's true. But also, Mississippi State is like baseball and softball powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, baseball, softball university.
Yeah.
I mean, you see their, I don't know if you ever see their buses coming around in Nashville, but that's all what their buses say. It's like, oh, we were the champions like a couple years ago. And you're like, oh, cool. But yeah, and then we go over to baseball. They got Central Michigan this weekend.
Fire up chips.
Fire up chips. I was actually, yeah, you load up their website and that's exactly what it says.
Oh, I know.
I
know.
Oh, Nick knows. But this one's gonna be tough. I mean, I was talking to Lake today about Central Michigan. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be tough. He's like, yeah, but, I mean, last season they had a lot of really big opponents. You know, Kentucky, Notre Dame. They had Georgia State just kick their butts last season. And they, you know, the 0-10 wasn't from playing just, like, really bad. Like, it was really good teams that they were playing against. And sometimes, you know, they'd be neck and neck. Sometimes it just wasn't their night. But, I mean, it's the same thing again this season. I think Dave Jarvis really wants to test these guys just before they get to their MVC play. Sure, they may not be putting up the numbers that people want on the stat sheets currently right now, from this 1 week. But, I don't know. I feel like it's not a hopeful weekend, but I do think we win a couple games from this. Or I shouldn't say a couple, but if you look at, let me see here. I mean, the doubleheader game, that's gonna be a tough one. I think you save it all for the 4:30 game, and then Saturday and Sunday is all up in the air. I mean, honestly, I think we win that one Friday game. I think that Friday 4:30 doubleheader game, I think that's the one they get. But, I mean, right now, not seeing a lot from their pitching depth. That's got to change. Maybe not soon, but, I mean, they're still developing. They're still finding out who they are as a team right now. It's very hard to predict this team right now, strength-wise. I mean, you want to see more from Chris Gandhi. I think he's got a little bit of potential in him. I saw him last season. You know, he would be on the mound earlier in the season. He'd be like, ooh, I don't know. Then you get on the mound a lot more. You're like, okay, this guy's starting to get the hang of it. And I think this season he's going to find that. Maybe not soon this season, but I think this season you're going to find out Chris Gandhi is a guy to kind of watch for. But, yeah, I mean, Central Michigan, going to be a tough team, going to be a tough weekend. But, hey, let's go.
The one thing that I'm really looking forward to, I've just ever seen Belmont play the one game that's against Bellarmine. They've got a lot of left-handed and right-handed relievers. Pretty much Dave Jarvis, if a righty was pitching, he was relieved by a lefty. You're talking about Gandhi. Had a very filthy pickoff move to second base and nabbed a runner. Not something many left-handed pitchers do. But I saw them throw out 7 different pitchers. Obviously, Zane Brown did not have the start that he or the team really wanted. But the bullpen pitched 7 innings, gave up 5 runs. 2 of those runs just straight up came from not covering first base. And Dave Jarvis touched on that. There was a lot of fundamental lapses. Like in the 3rd inning, they gave up a delayed steal of third base on the throwback to the pitcher. Like the guy just ate their lunch on that. There's just a couple things, a pass ball here and there, a couple infield flies that just you didn't get the out. Just a couple things that need to clean up. But I think that those are just early season things that they've gotten out of the way, and I think Central Michigan will be a pretty good test. I'll be at 2 of those games, so I think and I hope that they look better in those 2 games that I cover.
Yeah, there were 2 instances against Bellarmine in the same inning where a ball was kind of dribbled between first the catcher and the pitcher, and just the coverage was off. And I had PTSD flashbacks to my high school coach yelling at us about that. And anytime we messed it up in a game the next day, the entire practice was dedicated to that drill.
PFPs, pitcher fielding practice, like that's just something that everybody hates to do, but it's so necessary, and they showed it there.
And then moving on, I mean, they're right back at it on Tuesday again. They play at Lipscomb. I'm excited for that game. I think we win that game. I haven't really looked at Lipscomb's strength on the roster, but I mean, we've been pretty split even with Lipscomb. Last season, we traded off wins. We won, our first game that they won last season. They went 0-10, then they went to Lipscomb, and they beat them at Dugan Field. They won that game for like 14-9, and then the second game they played at ES Rose Park, it was like 5-4 Lipscomb. But I'm excited for that game. It's a battle of the Boulevard game. Like, you always got to be excited for that. Hope that they beat our rivals, the Lipscomb Bisons. But I think they're focused on Central Michigan this weekend. Despite what the stats may say after this weekend, I think that's who they're kind of worried about. Bouncing it to tennis.
Yeah, I was running the experiment again. You both fail. Going over to tennis.
Men's tennis, they're going to host ETSU Friday at 5:30. Don't have a lot of hope in this one. ETSU, pretty good. They're 4-2 on the year. I went to their athletics page, and it was a picture of tennis talking about a comeback win, and I was like, I don't know.
I haven't seen a lot of comeback wins for the tennis teams.
Yeah, and I don't know, out of all the sports to pick, like, just tennis being right there, I'm like, all right, they've probably got a pretty good tennis team if they're going to lead off with that. But we got them at home, so who knows, maybe things up in the air. Women's tennis, Friday at 3, they travel take on TSU. Neither of these teams have won yet, so somebody's going to have to. That's kind of how that
Hypothetically,
goes.
that's how that would go.
I hope one of these teams wins this weekend. I hope it's the Bruins. So who knows? Maybe this. We were talking about women's tennis looking a little bit better. Maybe this is where they put one in the win column.
We can hope. For our final "Do Whatever We Want" segment, this is a segment that was brought up to me by Reece, and I know also my mother has said that we should speak about, and that we should actually have her on about, because me and my mom argue about this topic a lot. It's favorite jerseys. We've all picked 3 from across any sport. These aren't necessarily in order. At least mine aren't. I figured we just each go around, go one at a time.
Should we do like a 3-way where you're like 1, 2,
I don't
3,
think
go.
that's gonna work. And also,
man.
our poor editor is gonna have to figure out how to make that audible or legible.
Oh.
So
Okay. Yeah.
don't sound so happy about it, Reece. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since I brought up
All
the
right,
idea.
your first one.
I think I'll try and not go with the most obvious one first, but for me, one of my favorite jerseys, it's got to be the Vancouver Grizzlies. I mean, dude. And
Yeah, I do. I have a John Morant one of those just because I like the jersey. I wanted to get a Jaren Jackson one. They weren't available. I got a Ja one because I just like the jersey so much.
I think this is a reminder. This is why it was disappointing going to Memphis. Like we lost. Like we used to be a proper nation. I know Vancouver's in Canada, but damn, we used to be a proper nation.
We used to be a proper nation somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Canada used to be
Canada.
a proper nation.
Yeah, then they lost the Grizzlies.
That's true. They did.
To a place that has no grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Also true. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I didn't mention them here, but I'm going to mention it because I know my mom's going to be upset about it. Love the Pistons teal jerseys. She hates them. I love them. I have a Grant Hill one, but those are very similar in color. I just think teals are a great underutilized color. I'll go next, I suppose, if my voice doesn't give out. My favorite football uniform ever is the Buccaneers creamsicles.
Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
No?
No. Sam is not a creamsicle guy.
I love Baker Mayfield's like old car that's the exact same color that he drives anytime they wear it. But that's just not my thing.
Man, I love those. I think those are
I think any like modern classic jersey is gonna look spectacular almost without fail. I love the old pirate logo.
The logo's so tough. He's biting the sword.
Yeah.
Like he's just
he's
cool,
throwing you a
dude.
little wink. It's cool, but it feels very Florida. And I think what's most interesting about it to me is that it uses a bright color as a primary, but it doesn't feel like soft. You know, I feel like you look at a team like Miami, like the Dolphins, their usual blue. It's a little soft. It's like, hey, this is football. You know, this is still like a very, very menacing color. It's the orange. It's the red. I think it works perfectly for Tampa. I love it.
Okay, you kind of stepped on it. I like the Dolphins.
I like the old Dolphins. I like the Merino Dolphins.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. 80s Dolphins, perfect. I don't know. I like colors like that. I'm never really scared whenever I have to play the Miami Dolphins. It's not like we got the Dolphins this week. But there's just something. I like their stadium. I've seen it. I've been to Miami. It's really neat. You can see it from the airport. I think it's just a cool color, and it makes me think of Dan Marino, and I really like Dan Marino.
Yeah. Dude, don't get me started. I love Dan Marino. Dan Marino would be the undisputed GOAT if he played like 10 years later.
He was the first like great thrower of the football, not just a
Yeah.
quarterback, great thrower of the football.
All right. We quite literally cannot get started on this because we'll go for another hour. Reece, what's your second?
All right, second one is a team that sadly no longer exists anymore, and that is the Phoenix Coyotes.
Oh, I
mean,
almost picked them. I love, dude.
let alone the jersey, probably one of the best logos in the NHL.
Frankly, I'm dead serious. Probably the best logo for any.
It's just
team ever.
cool, dude.
I have a shirt. I have a shirt with that logo. I found it at a Goodwill in Arizona once they moved, and it's tragic that they don't exist anymore.
Like, just the Coyote with the mask playing hockey. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. And just, I mean, the way the patterns go on the jersey, it just kind of it incorporates that kind of like Arizona vibe, with all the tribes that were there in the Grand Canyon and stuff like that. It's just, and it's just, you don't see those colors. You don't see those colors in sports, and it's so unique.
It's unique and it's so detailed, but it's not overwhelming, and that's, I think, it's very tastefully done. I was very close to picking them. I ultimately did not, but Sam, what's your number 2?
I love the Michael Jordan era Chicago Bulls uniforms. Like, they are just so crisp, so clean. Like the home whites, like just the glossy red. Like, I've got the Air Jordan 11 cherry reds that match it perfectly. It's gorgeous. And then when they would wear the black in the playoffs, like that was always my dad's favorite uniform. So I think I kind of like it. And I love just seeing an MJ highlight in the black. So I just really enjoy the 90s Bulls. Just like very, very like simple, but just like that's what a uniform should look like.
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about a jersey that's just clean. Like, just and I'll get to this on my last one. I'm gonna save this for last because it's near and dear to my heart. But I think there's something to be said about a jersey that everyone can look normal in.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 2 is one that's not terribly normal, but it's the Phillies powder blue. To me, this is exactly what a powder blue should be. It's kind of got that like crimson maroon thing going on as the accent color. And I think of Mike Schmidt sliding into third with his helmet off. That
first name that popped in my mind.
Exactly. And then even now I think of like Bryce Harper in it, and it's just the perfect powder blue. I love powder blue, and I think basically any team can do it, but I do think it's gotten so overdone now that it's losing its specialness a little bit, but not the Phillies.
Like the Rangers have.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't love theirs.
Theirs are okay. I'm not terribly against them, but they're not touching the Phillies. What's your number 2 or number 3?
Final
number 3.
one. And this is where it becomes more basic, but I mean, I had to go with one of the City Connect jerseys, and it was between one or the other, but I really love the new ones that they did with the Green Monster. I mean, those are just, I mean, I love the red, or not the red, the blue and yellow Boston Strong, like City Connect jerseys. Like, I love those. I think the meaning behind them, I know you guys might not like them, but just the meaning behind them is just very powerful from someone from the New England area because of the Boston bombing, and that's why they do it, because of the finish line for the Boston Marathon. So people might not like it for like, like, oh, that blue and yellow, that doesn't make any sense for the Red Sox. Why would they do that? But like, just in a meaningful standpoint, I love those jerseys. But these ones, they're just so clean. Like, I love the green on the Red Sox, and I know you guys are looking at me with confusing looks, but I am a very big fan of these jerseys.
I will say for the blue ones, the blue and yellow ones, like, I get that they're meaningful. I knew that. I recognized that the first time I saw them. They're just kind of ugly. They're just a little plain.
They kind of look like softball uniforms.
That being said, I was a big fan of these Green Monster inspired ones. That being said, if I'm picking a Red Sox jersey, I'm picking the classic Red Sox jersey.
I think they just have such a clean look about the regular ones. I do not like the green ones. They're called the Red Sox. I'd tell you the same thing about the Dallas Mavericks whenever they wear their green uniforms. Angers me so much as a former Mavericks fan. I will say they look good in the uniforms, though.
I do love the font across the front. That not only does it replicate the Monster font, but it's just a good font. It's a good font. I'm looking at Sam's, and I think we might have all gone Homer for our last one, so I'm glad I saved mine for last. But Sam, what's your third?
I love the 90s Braves. Like, when I just see it, just Braves with the tomahawk, like, this picture pops up in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
The triplets, Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz. They've got the navy long sleeves. The Atlanta Braves hat, that was the first baseball hat I ever had. They're just crisp. They're just clean. They were the best franchise for so long, made like 19 straight playoffs. I don't remember the exact number. I love it. There's a couple uniforms I could have went with. I'm wearing Dodgers gear right now. I love the Dodgers unis. there's just something special to me about those Braves. That was my mom's team growing up. And then getting a little weird, like I like the Charlotte Hornets old uniforms, like the 90s, like Larry Johnson and them. Like there's a lot of ways to go.
I just realized I said Homer. You're not from Atlanta.
I'm not. No.
I don't know.
Well,
and you're not a Braves fan.
But it is like that's
a
a
home team
huge
for them.
thing around here.
I could tell you had ties, but then all of a sudden I said it, and then I'm like, wait, he's a Dodgers fan.
Look at what you're like. You're a Braves fan.
Yeah, I almost picked the Dodgers too because I think the quality they have that also carries over to my pick is that you can put any player in it, and they're gonna look normal. They're gonna look at home. It works on everybody, and I think a lot of jerseys don't work on everybody. So my pick is the Detroit Tigers classic home uniforms. I have to say pre 2018, because in 2018 they switched the jersey logo and they thinned out the Old English D to match the hat. The one with the bold. It's just the Old English D is just so classic. It's classy, and the Tigers have never tried to do. I mean, I know we have City Connect and all this crap now, as far as I'm concerned, but this is just what a baseball uniform should be. It's simple, it's clean, it doesn't do too much. It's white and it's one color. Even though orange is part of the branding, you don't touch what's perfect. And to me, Tigers uniform is perfect.
It's the franchise of Ty Cobb. Like that.
Yeah.
That looks like Cobb's wearing it. I love it.
I was nicknamed Lou when I played baseball because of Lou Whitaker, who was the Tigers' second baseman during the 1984 run. So kind of have, a little bit of a connection to back in the day. But yeah, I think that's our show for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, well, I say as always, we actually miss semi-frequently, but Lord willing, we'll be back next week for more, and we hope you join us then.